Hi guys, welcome back. I hope you're all doing very well in this very weird time. So, today we're gonna talk about kind of a weird topic, I guess. I think it could be weird for a lot of people. We're gonna talk about the times you self-harm, but you don't feel sad, you feel happy, or you just feel average. You just self-harm. What's going on? We're gonna talk about it today. Again, just as a reminder, if you don't know me, hi, my name is Malika. I'm a former self-harmer, a recovering self-harmer, I guess you could say. And I am currently working to get a social work degree, so I am not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, I am just someone who's been through self-harm and tries to share my experience and what I've learned through along the way with other self-harmers so they feel less alone. And also to loved ones that can feel very lost in this world of self-harm. So I asked my followers on Instagram today, if you want to follow me on Instagram, the link is in the description, if they've ever self-harmed when happy or not sad, basically, and apparently it's very common. I can definitely say that I have felt that way too. I definitely did from time to time self-harm when I was not sad or anything. I was either feeling good or just average. And of course the goal of this video is not to give you any ideas. If you do self-harm currently and you've never felt the urge to self-harm or never self-harmed when you were not feeling sad or depressed, please don't start doing it because you saw this video. That would be awful. So if that could give you ideas, please just click out of the video now. And the last precision before I start this video is that not everyone who has self-harm will have experienced this. This doesn't mean that you're a bad self-harmer or something like that, or it doesn't mean that your experience is not a real experience or something like that. The goal is not to make you feel like you don't belong or anything like that. This is a feeling that can be pretty common when you have an issue, you feel like you're not sick enough or something like that. This is not the goal of today's video, it's just to explain why something can happen that sometimes people are ashamed of. So what's going on? Why are we doing this? So when you hear about self-harm, when you hear people's stories and all of that, you always hear of self-harm as something you do when you're sad or when you have to cope with a very difficult emotion. And I think most of the time it is true. I think most of the time, at least if I refer to my own experience and the experiences I've heard along the years, self-harm is definitely something that is used to cope with difficult emotions. But from what I've seen, when you've been self-harming for a long time, and it's just become an addiction, it's just become a habit, it can sometimes be used to deal with other emotions too. Sometimes joy can be so intense or something that you haven't felt in such a long time that you don't really know how to cope with it anymore. Even though it is a positive emotion, it's still something that can be hard to deal with. The human is a creature of habit, and I think most of the time we prefer something that is predictable, even if it's painful, to something that is completely unpredictable, like a sudden bound of happiness blowing up in your face. That can feel very triggering to some people, and that can feel very weird. Or maybe you don't feel like you deserve to be happy, so you punish yourself for feeling happy. I know this might be very weird to hear, but if you think you don't deserve it, then you're gonna try to make it go away, and self-harm can be a way to do that. Also, I think a lot of people, when they feel happy, but they have a mental illness and they're struggling most of the time, in those situations, feeling happiness can make you feel like maybe you're just inventing your problems, and maybe you're just actually not suffering because, look, you're happy right now, and you don't allow yourself to sometimes feel good, to sometimes not feel depressed, to sometimes not feel anxious, not feel dissociated or something like that. And when you have a moment of joy, it can be very difficult to deal with, because you feel like this means that you're a faker or something like that. And another explanation I could give to why sometimes people self-harm when they aren't sad, they're happy, or they're just feeling, like I said, average, is that self-harm can become just a habit, something you do without really thinking of it, because it's something that's become so normal to you that it's not this huge thing anymore that is so taboo and so dangerous and evil. It still is. But it's not how you see it anymore, because it can sometimes become your daily habit. If you feel this way, if something that I've said today really resonates with you, you're not crazy, you're definitely not alone, and it doesn't mean you're faking or anything like that. You're just going through a pretty common self-harm struggle that sadly nobody talks about. But it doesn't mean you're crazy, it doesn't mean you're faking or something like that. So that's gonna be it for today, guys. Please tell me in the comments if you've ever felt this way, because I would really like to know your story, and I'm sure others will too. If you have any video requests, please leave them in the comments, or you can send to me in Instagram. If you'd like to chat with me, you can hit me up on Instagram. I post daily on there. I answer to every DM I get, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.